What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcasts. I am Justin, here with Meelz. Do people get tired of me saying that every week?
They might. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if people just fast forward through the first 45 seconds of the show anyway. So
I would.
I would, yeah, I definitely would. I would I fast forward through most intros that I hear. Nonetheless, I'm here. We're fresh off of Juneteenth.
Yeah.
The Juneteenth weekend. I'm still not sure how we process this weekend. And do I grill? Do I support black business?
You gotta turn around and do that shit again. So it's really a weird moment we're in.
Grilling season nonetheless, but we are not here alone. And I say this because we have not had a lot of guests on recently, to be honest with you. We're not usually the latest guest that we've had is because either J5 went to get married or J5 went to Barcelona or J5 went to
All right. Relax. And
but
it's amazing that we got this guest today because we are starting off the summer of revenge. I know you heard it in the intro. That's why you shouldn't skip the intro. That's what I was trying to get to. Because you shouldn't skip the intro.
Looking for revenge. That's all I got.
We tired of the disrespect. I said this on Twitter last week. I'm tired of disrespect personally. We tired of disrespect in general. And we kicking off the summer of revenge. And to help us do that, we got our guy, if you remember last week.
I don't want to put him in the guy category.
We got our brother, man, for real, for just for life, from Black Rasslin Podcast. Khal, what's good, man?
What's pop? I appreciate that. I like going from guy to brother. I thank you. I'm down. I'll call people what's up, my guy? But at a certain point, guy only goes so far.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. We're firmly in the first day of summer, first couple days of summer, and we're gonna take the A Show in new and different directions this summer, Khal. So we had to have you on. Obviously, last week we were on. We had a really huge show. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
BPC, Black Pod Connect.
Black Pod Connect. It's funny to think it was just an idea that Meelz hit me randomly one day with we should do a fundraiser. I'm like, how the hell is that going to work? Because he's talking about 3 different pods. But hey, it worked out beautifully. Money's coming in, and how Victor Perry, he everywhere now.
Listen, and if you guys have not yet, I mean, I can understand if you haven't yet. I mean, maybe you didn't get paid yet. Maybe just something happened yet. But if you have the opportunity to, please GoFundMe. It's on the A Show page. It's on my page. It's on Black Rasslin. It's on, it's on Black Announce Table. It's on the A Show. It's everywhere. Make sure you guys, and of course, Victor Perry, shout out to him, Wallflower Perry. You can follow him on Twitter. Continue, to donate. We getting somewhere. This is, to be honest with you, not that necessarily I have low expectations for everything, but I have no expectations for everything, so I just don't get disappointed.
That sounds like you need to talk to somebody about that, bro. You need to have some.
It's a recurring thing. I told my therapist about it. I definitely did.
I think that was one of my first things that my wife had said. She was like, "What are your expectations for me?" And I said, what? I was like, what? It's like none.
Sounds like a trap.
Facts.
All right. So boom. First of all, we got a lot of stuff coming this summer, but before we do that, man, I want to get into office hours, and I'm glad that I have you here, J5, and I'm glad I have you, Khal, because both of you guys,
with some job having,
I feel like job having motherfuckers, man. Listen, I love it. So of course I'm still on the job excursion, job hunt. Not necessarily. I mean, I don't care who listens to it from my current job. I'm looking for a new job, but no one from my job listens to it, I'm sure. So I'm doing all these interview processes, and I'm doing all the interview things. I want to ask the question. I may have two, but I want to ask one. Is I've always learned this from my career center at my college, and then I kind of like followed it, but I'm not sure how I actually feel about it anymore. A thank you letter after an interview, yay or nay?
A thank you. Wait, the letter saying thank you for letting me talk to you in hopes of getting a job at your company.
Yeah, or something like thank you for your time and thank you. Apparently, from what I've read, and especially what my career center at my college has instilled upon me, is that people like that apparently.
I'm sorry, that's in addition to like hitting them via email after and be like, yo, it was good chat, thanks for hit me up if you have any questions. Like, this is in addition to that.
I don't know. I never should I do that? Like, if you have any questions, I should do that.
I think it's if you, I'm assuming, again, we're in 2022, we're all connecting digitally. I'm assuming you have an email trail at some point. Why
Yes.
would you write an email? Like why would you be in there and be like, yo, it was good chatting with you, blah 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 blah. Like, you can explain whatever you need to do right there. It's real quick, a sentence or two.
Yeah.
Why? What are you going into Google Docs or Microsoft Word to type out words for, to then attach that to another email in that thread to essentially, like, how much? I mean, who wants that? How old are the people that want that? And that's no disrespect, but I mean, it feels kind of antiquated at this point.
Yeah, I've personally never done it. I know that people have been like, do it, and I'm just like, because the thing is like, more often than not, they know when you walk out of that phone call or that Zoom meeting or whatever, or that office, what they're gonna do. They already know. So like, a thank you is like I don't even think it's a formality anymore. Like, I've never done it.
You've got a job.
Well, but you've taken care of the business already. You've already had the conversation. You should, again, I'm surprised if people aren't saying, thanks for the conversation, whatever, at the end of the conversation before you close out of the Zoom window.
Right.
That I feel like that should be taken care of there.
No, I absolutely do that. I'm for sure. That's like my thing. Especially, they ask me if I have any more questions. I've been in this rare situation where, like, you ever been in this rare situation where you didn't have questions? Like, you're just like, nah, I think, fuck, man.
All the time.
Yeah. I'm always like, you've wrapped it up perfectly.
Yeah. And I'm always in this situation like, shit, I should ask a question. Everything that I've been told or been pushed within me is make sure you have a fucking question. Just something.
Well,
something at
I'll
the end.
always ask, and this is for anyone, I'll always ask what the day-to-day is like. And I used to only ask that because I usually record this show during work hours. So you'd be
Right.
like, I mean, like, what's the day-to-day like? Or is it a lot of meetings?
Well,
can I get about 60 to 90 minutes free anytime I want?
So like, I'll always ask that, or I'll be like, okay, what's the day-to-day like? Well, a popular question I ask now is like, what do you guys, what's your COVID protocol? Is a really good question to ask now, and I think that's going to be a question that we ask, for the next couple of years.
Right.
I love to ask, like, what's the cross-functional, like, what does it look like working cross-functionally with other teams? Am I going to work with a lot of different people, a lot of different personalities? Because you might not like that, you might like that a lot. So those are the type of questions I would ask.
But again, these are questions that I'm asking during the interview. They're not just like, is the thought that they're just like speaking to you for 20 minutes and then at the end you just, you're taking notes and then you ask whatever 4 or 5 bullet points. Like, it's not a press conference. I'm assuming it's a conversation. So any questions I would have had, I should have damn near asked it before I got to minute 25 of that Zoom or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. Like, I don't mean to sound like a a-hole, but I'm like, I always felt like thank you letters was like kiss ass type shit. Like,
that's how I feel.
Extra credit type shit.
That's how I feel, and I never feel like, to be honest with you, I've sent a few, and I feel like they've never helped me in any situation more than, or I feel like it hasn't swayed anybody in any other way than probably the way they were going anyway. And I'm very nice, you know what I'm saying? I can strum up a couple words and make people feel things and all this other stuff like that. But yeah, I've never felt like it helped me. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, yo, do I really want to do this? Like, I just interviewed for this job like last week, and I really, really want it, and I really, really like it, and everything that they said to me was pretty great. And then I'm putting it, I was like, yo, I like the vibe that we had there, and I kind of want to leave it there without making myself feel corny.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sending that letter will definitely make you look corny.
Facts. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
Oh my God. I mean, well, listen. Speaking of not corny at all, and not corny segues, Cal, BRP 50. It's in the books, man.
Yeah, the fourth one. It's damn. It's funny because you know, you start on a project and you're working on it. It's all this work leading up to, you know, the day when you start dropping the first entrance and people start reacting, and then like that, literally by the end of by Sunday morning on Juneteenth, it was done.
Yeah.
Essentially, you know, the top 10 reveal video was out. The shout out to Andreas Hale. He wrote a dope article about our number one. If you haven't read it, go to blackrasslin.com. And it's like, but once everything's out there, you know, I'm starting to work now, you know, again, talking to brothers, the A show, shouts out to Brian H. Waters. He had me on, had us on Wrestling for the Culture. You may or may not have already seen it. If not, you could check that out as well. It's interesting to see how the all the work that gets done for it to be out there, and then quickly it's kind of just like, all right, you did that thing. Let's talk about it a little bit. It's been a good year, actually, outside of all of the nonsense that I saw on the timeline over the last couple of days. There's been a lot of dope words from, you know, pro wrestlers who, you know, you may know, you may not know. A lot of shouts out to the day ones and the supporters, people like, you know, Meelz and Justin, you know, for you know, always putting out a good word and always showing love. But you know, it's good to hear that it's good to see everybody, you know, appreciating the list for really what it is. It's just to put on, you know, dope black wrestlers and only dope black wrestlers.
Yeah. And you know, I got to talk about the drama. I'm the drama king. That's what they put me out here for.
Okay.
Well, I'm blocked, so like I had to see this through like different means, but I saw that.
Which is weird because you're the one that brought it to my attention, and I was like, wait the fuck, hold the fuck on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, I saw it because math, and you know, I saw it from him, so I had to hop into the A show account because I'm not blocked there. But so a certain wrestler on the list said, "Take me off the list," and I went immediately because, you know, I'm ready for the beef. Immediately to our little chat, and I said, "What's up?" I said, "What's good? This a work?" I literally said, "Is this a work?"
What was this Friday? This was Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
This was because at that point, mind you, I had been. I was feeling nice. I had my beer. I was literally just like, look, I'm not worrying about a damn thing. The list is because this ain't the first time, and it's funny because even saying that it's happened 2 years ago, and the person that this happened with 2 years ago then chimed back in this year for whatever reason. They're not even on the same show.
Right.
But he felt the need to come back, and he was essentially saying the same thing: all wrestlers matter, which is cool. I understand that that's how you feel.
That's weird,
dude. It's how, again, we've been here before. That it was the same conversation that we had 2 summers ago. You can't find it no more because he took the comments down. But go back. Actually, if you go to the Black Rasslin page on YouTube, I made a playlist. It's called The History of the BRP 50. Mm-hmm. One of the first shows we did after the 2020 BRP 50s. You'll see the guy's face. You'll see. I don't even want to mention his name. I really haven't mentioned his name since that situation.
I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say it. You know his name. You know his jeans. You know what I'm saying? You know his fits. Not much needs to be said about that. I think that, like, when it comes to things like this, it's like, you know, I feel like there are a lot of wrestlers that are black that kind of share the same type of sentiments of I don't want to say right wing, but I want to say like of the other meatheads that they hang out with. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we need to like not hold a lot of these wrestlers up as a monolith, and like I feel like people like get really, really emotionally like attached to a lot of them, and it's like their views might be like completely shitty. And that's why I always like to be like, okay, just say what you know what I'm saying? Say how you really feel about people. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, they're humans too. And I just thought that this was kind of just like more proof that like, hey, like y'all should really kind of peel back and see really what this person's trying to show you here. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we're not trying to say that all wrestlers don't matter, but we're trying to say that as a wrestling podcast with a very marginalized, we're a very marginalized community within wrestling, not within anything else,
Right.
but this community. So it's good to have
Right.
something that's just for us. You know what I'm saying? So for that person to use his power and his thousands of followers to say, take me off of this shit so that his other stupid white fans who are okay with him being on the YouTube show every week can, you know, shit on y'all is really fucked up. It's anti-black. He's turned something that should be celebratory into something that's anti-black.
But you know, I'm sorry, but again, shouts out to the supporters I mentioned earlier, because what I saw on my timeline was, wait, how are you going to hate on what they? How can you look at this list and think of anything but, damn, I've never seen that name before, or wow, this is a dope presentation, or whatever you would think. Why does it immediately have to be? Why you got to put the black person against the black person? Because I saw a number of tweets. I don't remember names. I saw people saying, you know, I've never heard of a luchador getting pissed when you do like a top 10 luchadors list, or like a top 10 Japanese wrestlers list. Like, you know, these things happen, and I would trip more, but I've been here before, first. And second, this has been the aim when I went to, this site is so fucking old. When I started Black Rasslin on Blogspot, the idea was, I don't see no dirt sheets out there that are really talking about primarily black pro wrestlers. So if I can, there was the project idea was, let's do something for black pro wrestlers. That was the log line. And I tried to, again, back in fucking, you know, we're talking late 2000s, Ezekiel Jackson and Mark Henry and all this stuff. Just, you know, giving my insight on what they're doing then, and it morphs into a podcast that still has the same ethos. So the BRP 50 is just another extension of what we've been doing. How people can look at shining a light on people who are not getting that light shown on them all the time is crazy to me. And it's also funny because Mans also did say he wanted to get the top 10 black wrestlers, and then and then he got mad at that because I guess he figured that everybody was going to say him. And I mean, and again, it's not, because, you know, it's not even disrespect, because again, he was top 20 on our list. Like, we rock with dude, you know, regardless of the whole situation, what we were seeing and what his potential, definitely thought, oh, that's someone that, you know, needs that spot. Felt like it made sense. To have the people that he thought was going to big him up, be like, yo, you going to be number one, be like, name it. They might name him, and then they named a bunch of people, but they didn't have him where they want.
Nigga, wait, hold up.
Well, and again, I mean,
it's not. I understand. I completely understand where you're coming from, and I think we all understand it. Of like, it's not about like this like chest, you know, puffing. Like, this isn't a top 10 list. It's ultimately it's meant for, like, I would assume, like, 1, conversation, 2, discovery, 3, information, and just kind of like a celebration. Don't mind me, all them Asians came all together, but we make it work. But I think it's ultimately for that, and it's not really meant. The fact that you went to, like, all right, who really y'all top 10 black wrestlers, and then also it's just like a lot of people just name like at least 11 before you is like,
what can you do? And it's not like it's a situation where, because I think the other thing is, and you know, putting out lists, everybody, I know people are so tired of lists, but I also want people to know, my job has been to make lists, and I take some of that stuff. I know when to joke around and have fun with a list, but the BRP 50 is the one list where we got databases of win-loss records. We've got the if you look at, you know, the stats, especially the top 10, you've got the number of days as champion, and of multiple championships. All those accolades are taken into effect, as well as TV time and overall impact. And God damn it, are people sleeping on this person's talent? And should we, you know, make it be? That's what we did last year with Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Last year, we had her in the top 20, and people were kind of, what's going on? And now she's number 3, and it's kind of undeniable if you look at what black people in pro wrestling have been able to do. you can't deny what Bianca's done.
No.
You know what I mean? You can't deny a Sasha Banks. You can't deny a lot of these people, and it's no disrespect to dude, but if I put what you did in the calendar year from May 2021 to May 2022 against what, some other people did, I mean, the stats are going to, weigh heavy on one side than the other, and the chips are going to fall where they're going to fall. It's not like Mans wasn't on the, because, it's a situation, he don't want to be on the list. You could have not been on the list, but, it's a thing where we can't deny what you did.
Yeah.
You just have to be accurate about where we're putting people. And I think people think we just threw names on the board and put who we liked at the top and let everybody else kind of just sit around, where I wish it was that easy.
I mean, then you had dude saying stuff. Then you had another dude who honestly shouldn't even be talking.
I'll say this. So that Saturday I went to an event. I went to a live podcast event. I listened to another podcast, Challenge Mania. They do a lot of stuff with MTV's The Challenge and stuff like that. And one of my friends who's a big wrestling fan was there, so we chopped it up. As I was leaving the event, I was making my way out. He was like, "Yo, I saw the shit with blank and blank on Twitter. What was up with that? Because that was weird." And he's like, he's white, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't get it because I know what the list is supposed to be, so I wasn't really sure why they're so." And it's like I'm having this like awkward conversation of having to explain why a black person would feel offended of their placement on a black list to a white guy. And
the white guy is confused about why the black person is. That's crazy. That's
confused. And part of me, if I'm talking to another black person, I'm just, I'm gonna say how, but I'm trying to like reel it in and just like, I'm not sure where he's at with this. But if I'm talking to J5, we have a completely different conversation of like, why this. Why this nigga is this
He said, "Look at his jeans." It's a shame.
He was just like, he was so confused, and I was just like, bro, I'm just as confused, and I say that in as few words as possible, but I think we all understood kind of what's going on in that situation.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, BRP 50, I think it's a staple. I think it's it's something that we all look forward to every month of June at this point, and
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a list that it's solidified. It's it's stamped. Like it's gonna happen. You guys, the amount of work that's put into it and how it's revealed and how people accept it and stuff like that, it's definitely real. So shout out to all you guys for making this list or just the work that you put in putting this list together. Because BRP 50 is solidified, man. I didn't even want, when we were doing the Black Pod Connect last week, I was when we were planning this when we were planning the entire process, I was like, I know you guys are going to drop this list. I didn't want to stand in the way of that, but if you could lend us your bandwidth.
I'll tell you this, Meelz. I said, I told him, I said, after Juneteenth, we gonna chill for a little bit. Is that this past week? It was just only because it was the start of the list. It was the Black Pod Connect. It was Black WrestleFest. I had that panel, and the people at Black WrestleFest. They were mentioning Black Pod Connect. They was mentioning BRP 50. So it was just like a lot, and then ending it on Juneteenth. I said, not that I want to take a chill, but like we've been doing the pod. We've been doing so much. We had you guys on recently. It's just there's been so much going on, and I kind of want to adjust the volume a little bit so we can kind of get back to
of course
a little chill before we go back up before the end of the year.
That's how pros do it.
I do want to say though, again, I can't say it enough. The people, the love that people have been showing the list this year specifically, I didn't know, shouts out to homie at Challenge Mania and all these other cats who are out here that are, putting this. Booker T recently, I guess he realized that there were a number, I want to say there were like 8 or 10 folks that came through the Reality of Wrestling organization and to become pro wrestlers, and he highlighted they highlighted him on the Reality of Wrestling page, and then he retweeted that and used the hashtag. So I mean, if people like that can recognize, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I not that I don't pay attention or don't see any of the smoke that people want to throw our way, but I some days I choose to look at those who understand the message, understand what we're doing, and lead with that. But don't think I don't see, and don't think that I'm not taking notes about what's going on. I saw a man, he Supermaned himself into a trash can on Sunday. That was crazy.
Yeah, yes.
That was crazy.
Oh man, okay. Let's get into no holds barred. I was gonna say this for Patreon, but I think give people a break this week. Patreon gets it first, of course. As always, $5 get you in our Patreon. A little bit more gets you in our Discord. Discord is one of the most. Cal's seen the Discord. The Discord's jumping.
Discord be popping. Discord be pop. I don't even know what's going on, and they be like, "Oh, Cal, what's up?" I can pop in. Oh shit, y'all been talking 3-4 hours on this nonsense.
Listen, nothing better than Wednesday nights on the Discord in the spoiler talk room where we talk about current shows that are airing during Dynamite.
It's a safe space, is all I'll
It's
say.
a safe space to say whatever you want.
It's a safe space. That's all I'd say about it. That's all I'd say about it, because the opinions you put out on the timeline, like for instance, right? There's been this discussion now over the last 24 hours. I'm still confused about why this is going on about Adam Cole's body. I'm still confused about why this is going on, because I think we all know, I'm not trying. I have no horse in this race. The man can do kind of whatever he wants, however he wants to treat his body and all this other stuff like that. There's Booker T says, "Oh, this guy is small." Well, yeah, kind of, yeah.
He wasn't wrong.
Yeah, he wasn't wrong. But it's I think people are they're taking offense to it because they feel like it's now they're, now it's tribalism a little bit. It was oh, in WWE, you wasn't calling him small. I was like, I mean, he was still kind of, he just was on the small roster with the rest of the small guys.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, internet discourse has been, this week was actually a lot. I took the weekend off. I was pretty happy with that, to be honest.
And we're going to talk about why in a second, but just be clear. The Discord is popping, and obviously you would get this type of conversation on the Patreon, but just to give you guys a preview of what you would get, we're going to kind of hop into Forbidden Door a little bit. I know that Quan and Cyrus are going to talk about this at length. To Cyrus's begrudgingly talking about this week on the War Report. We're going to talk about Forbidden Door a little bit. The build for the show has just been completely odd and weird.
I didn't realize it was Sunday. I was like, or is it Saturday or whatever?
It's Sunday. It's
coming up this Sunday. I was like, holy crap.
I am only watching this show because of this pay-per-view, because I'm ready to be done with it. So after Sunday, I'm off Dynamite again.
Damn.
I can't.
How do you feel about Forbidden Door, Cal? How's it been going to you?
I follow AEW. It's the one I feel like it's the one pro wrestling federation outside of ECW that I feel like I genuinely saw from the very, 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 very beginning. So I'm watching a lot of it out of habit. It definitely feels what did put too much dip on your chip. Yeah. There's so much going on in AEW right now. Actually, I was reading a piece the other day. If you looked at the list of titles from AEW, ROH, New Japan that have kind of just floated off and on Dynamite, it's who knows what championship is larger than the other one.
Right.
Who understands how they made determinations for the New Japan people that are going to be in the All Atlantic Championship match. How did they just determine that John Moxley gets slotted in this position, and then it's just things they have systems in place where they could make sense, but then they kind of just do things where it doesn't really need to make sense. And I don't know. At a certain point, it's not that I don't care. I just stop following along as intently, because I'm just all right, is Dax Harbour going to wrestle? Bet. Is Bryan Danielson going to wrestle? Bet. Is Pac going to wrestle? Bet. I'm just looking for the cats that I like to watch wrestle at this point. I'm not really too insane about this, especially because It's some like an interim AEW World Championship match at this New Japan thing. It like a lot of I don't want to say it don't matter, but like they're building up the shit that in like once CM Punk is back, that interim championship going to be in the garbage.
Exactly. And are they making another belt for this? Is it just going to be
like when right before Cody Rhodes left AEW, he was out for a minute and he was a TNT champion. So they made an inaugural TNT. It's the same thing. They made an inaugural TNT championship. Sammy Guevara won it, and he was holding 2 titles for the longest time up until I think his second reign. He had 1 belt.
Yeah.
But so I'm assuming it's going to be like that, where it's going to be I'm the interim champion.
Ridiculous with 2 of the same championship on your shoulder. You kind of.
Well, actually, the thing that killed me was when Scorpio Sky was champion, and nobody mentioned this. I think a lot of people don't be watching like I'll be watching, and this is why I had to stop getting this intent. He's carrying 1 title on his arm. His man's Dan Lambert, who's like his manager / mouthpiece, he's got the 2nd title around his waist. I'm like, no disrespect, but if I was champion and I won both them titles, especially they had my man's climbing ladders and shit. The man who was standing on the ring apron, standing, at gorilla position, ready to walk with me, he don't need to have the belt around his waist. What did he do but say 5 words before I got out?
That's almost like the way that they do that. And to your point, like I like what they do with Paul Heyman. He holds the belts above his head. When Roman asks for them, he gives them to him and he hands them back and he holds them like they're like, it's like his life.
The title may as well have been a newborn baby. It is so delicate and so precious to Paul Heyman. But I mean, again, Paul Heyman is proof of like he's almost like the best actor I've ever seen. Like don't get me started on my YouTube rabbit holes of Roman Reigns in the Thunderdome and the back and forth with him. And there's one moment where Roman Reigns is standing in the ring and the Usos are there with Paul Heyman. And Roman, he said something, somebody said something. I think one of the Usos had the mic and Roman put his hand out.
Yeah.
And Us had the mic in his hand, but he didn't put, like, you're supposed to take the mic and put it in the tribal chief's hand. Paul Heyman said, get the mic and put it in the tribal chief. He put it in it. Like, he is so into, and I wish that super fan Tony Khan or whoever over there needs to be taking note. Like they need to be looking at that and saying we need to add a little bit more detail, a little bit more oomph to this presentation. So because the wrestling is going to be what the wrestling is, you can't really fault them on a lot of in ring. They those guys get busy. A number of them do get busy, but storytelling and really selling everything. I think their focus is what's in the ring, and they tell the story, but they're not thinking about all of those things that could really make it feel a little bit more inclusive.
Yeah, you mentioned Bryan Danielson, and he's currently not factored into this card whatsoever. And I know
not yet. I mean, he's supposed to have some announcement on.
There's supposed to be an announcement on Dynamite, but we don't know what the situation is yet. It could be either way.
Hey. Oh, I just stood up. Hey, I'm excited. Because you know what? They called me a crazy person. They called me crazy, Cal.
About what?
About my comparison.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Here you go again. Yeah, but bring it.
I said when I saw that announcement, I said, did this motherfucker just knock himself back into a wheelchair? And we're gonna have this announcement again.
I when I saw the image, because I saw the image of someone tagging me, they're like, yo, get ready. And I'm like, is he clear?
Exactly. He hasn't wrestled since Double or Nothing.
I've been in this situation before. Matter of fact, I remember rewinding the damn DVR to get the quotes from him so I could, make sure they were transcribed correctly. Like, I've been in this situation with this man not that long ago.
Exactly. And he's currently not factored into this card, only has 6 matches, which is so un-AEW like, but it's probably because they can't get everybody from New Japan over. But if he's not on this card against any New Japan talent, where do we stand with this? What do we call this? I know what to call it, but what do y'all call it?
I'm New Year's Evil. What the fuck are we?
I'm wishing for the best for Bryan Danielson.
I am too. But there's so much you could have got out of this guy and you did this, and now he potentially can't go, because it's not only just Forbidden Door. The thing that should be raising alarms in your head is that it's Forbidden Door and Blood and Guts next week. So it's like, it's not just the pay-per-view, which he's not even booked on. He's actually booked on that show next week. So it's like,
but they announced that a couple of weeks ago, though, right?
What, Blood and Guts? Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying they knew about. I wonder what they knew when they first said Blood and Guts, and because it could be because his announcement on Wednesday can change everything.
If he is hurt, and he's going to be out for some time, because it's gone from concussion to, I don't know. They haven't said anything. They've gone from a lot of things. Yeah. If he can't go, then there's something that really needs to be talked about, because within the last couple months, you've had someone, Scorpio Sky said, I couldn't feel my right leg. I couldn't feel my right leg. You had, what's his name? Starks broke his neck in the ring and didn't come back for months.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
You had Jeff Hardy knocked out.
Just enough said. No, I don't even think we need to go back into that.
I'm just saying, we need to have a conversation about how they handle their talent, and them telling their talent to pull back, because they're not going to have anybody left.
I mean, this is true. Adam Cole's on the show. I don't know if Adam Cole's going to be wrestling on this pay-per-view or not, which is, yeah.
When one of the other things that they mentioned when they first started, they touted. I mean, this is a whole.
Healthcare?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. When they first came out, they touted diversity and inclusivity, and they touted a smaller travel schedule and some type of medical care, healthcare. It made it sound like it would have been a leaps and bounds over whatever people are being provided in the WWE currently. And I don't know what the situation is. Are they paying for Jeff Hardy's?
I don't know. I mean, he could technically, if he really wanted to, he could still call WWE and they would pay it.
Yes, yeah, he could go back there, and that's the interesting thing is, like, WWE may not put you on like a health care plan, but if you get injured
in the ring,
they'll pay.
Yeah,
Scott Hall, I mean, there's a number of people who they would not be in the WWE and they could call on them and they would try and help them out. It's I don't know what AEW's situation with that is specifically, but it's with the style of wrestling that they're doing, even if it's just once a week. Dare I say, if someone's only going to be wrestling once a week, and for some of these younger talents, that may be the one time they wrestle that month,
right?
Or a month or two. They're going to go hard, probably harder than they need to sometimes, to try and get over. So someone could take notice, like a TK, and say, "Oh, damn, there's a lot of tweets. Let me maybe slide Orange Cassidy with them," or whatever the case may be. But if there's no proper landing for them, if they do get injured. What did I read about Darby Allin? He said, I got up on that when he took that bump. He took a bump with Jeff Hardy where he landed on chairs.
Yeah.
It was during the Owen Hart tournament. And he said that it was Jake Roberts laid into him after the match. He was like, what the fuck are you doing up there? He was like, I figured I was just going to jump and go to the hospital.
That's so crazy.
I don't know if they have like a person to be like, Darby, you may not want to do that. You gotta, you trying to wrestle in 6 months. Like, what are we doing? But they got guys running around with that mentality, and then they're able to do essentially, whatever they want to do within reason, as long as, it gets approved by the booker and the producers for the match. They can do whatever they want to do. And it sucks that we're now seeing Jeff Hardy's issues are still continuing to go on. Yeah. Again, that Darby Allin has always frightened me with that. And a lot of these injuries, Bryan Danielson be going hard. When I talked to him before his first match, it was the one thing that was on my mind in the middle of the conversation. I'm like, because I understand what he's saying. He's feeling like he can go.
Yeah.
He feels like he understands his body, but you can't. I
can't trust him, man, because you know what he used to do. You've seen what he will do. He's like Foley in a sense, right? Foley did anything possible to make the fans go home happy. And I feel like Bryan Danielson has that same mentality. And I saw his match with Suzuki and I said he should not be taking bumps like that. I saw his match with Paige. I said he should not be getting dropped on his head like that. Like, that's just crazy. He shouldn't be doing that. and then you see the anarchy in the arena, whatever that match was called, and I was like, this is just dumb. The stuff that he's doing, and it's like it's not even me flinching anymore. It's just me just being like, this is, you don't have to do any of this. You could be working smart like Jericho's working, and he's not doing it.
They they always, it's one of those things where they're always going to have, they started from the beginning ripping up the ring, total mayhem matches. It's part, I don't know if it's to satisfy the CCW, ECW, G, whatever contingent of, you know, hardcore death style matches, whatever you want to call them. They always want to satisfy that contingent, and it always seems to work when it's this group of 6 people versus that group of 6 people, whatever the numbers are. And you know, it just so happens that Bryan Danielson happens to be in one of the what they were building to be one of the hotter factions. I think I like the track they were going with him when he was going out there with the Lee Moriartys, or like a Wheeler Yuta, who's now, I believe, is the ROH Pure Champion. Within a month, it went from Wheeler Yuta chilling with the Best Friends guys to showing and proving in a match with Danielson, bleeding a lot over the ring, but having a really good showing with Jon Moxley, and now he's down with them, and he feels like he's able to be like, all right, I'm the pure champion now. When you come test me in the Blackpool Combat Club, you know, you better bring your skills. I like that track. I'm not so much into, all right, now let's have a fucking blood and guts match. Bryan Danielson, first of all, doesn't even need to, he can do it. He don't need to, he don't come dressed for that shit.
Yeah.
He's in there to work. Let that man work. He don't need to be bleeding and whatever the hell else. He can in the match. Let him do it in the ring in a 60-minute match. Let me see him do all the 60-minute Broadways with Adam Page. I'll watch that all the time. I shouts out Eddie Kingston and whoever else is in that, but separate that, keep that over there.
Yeah, for sure. We were going to talk about Forbidden Door. We talked about absolutely zero matches from it, but shout out to them. That's on Sunday.
I mean, the card doesn't look that.
Yeah, it's
like for AEW New Japan is coming together, first time ever. It's like looking like, I don't want to compare it to Invasion 2001.
No, Invasion had better matches than this.
No, like this is kind of the same. Like Lance Storm and Mike Awesome versus Edge and Christian. It's just kind of looking like the Sex Gods and Minoru.
Hey, they were over though. They were way over.
Versus, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, but you know, we'll see on Sunday. How about that?
Well, and again, I think the only other part of it is because WWE is so self-contained and AEW, Tony Khan specifically, has been so much about working with other federations if they want to play nice. He's doing a lot. This is very similar to the actually it's a little bit more blown up than the very first, that All In show. Because that was still and New Japan.
I believe the NWA Championship too. I think.
There was a lot going on there. They had Impact, they had Ring of Honor, they had everything there. So it's happened before, but when you're doing it in that sense where it's just one night only, everybody come in, you know, do the damn thing, you can do that. When it's this and you have, because ROH don't even really have storylines right now. AEW is in flux. You can only do so much with New Japan based off of COVID and what they do and don't want to do with their title. So I'm not saying it's a good idea if you really want to go there and you really can do it. If you're not going to be able to do it the way you can do it, you may end up shortchanging the fans who are really trying to see that real shit.
Right. Yeah. Let's get into No Holds Barred. We got a lot to talk about. No Holds Barred. I guess we got to start with Vince. It has been a crazy week for that man.
Why does it keep coming out?
I don't know. I feel as though because okay, so let's just get to the brass tacks here. Friday afternoon, Vince McMahon actually stepped down from being the CEO of WWE and brought Stephanie McMahon back, who was on sabbatical. Brought her back to be the acting CEO until the investigation is over. We just found out late last night, by the way, that John Laurinaitis has been put on administrative leave, and actually Bruce Pritchard is taking over in his stead for talent relations as well as creative. poor Bruce. I know I heard he just got surgery. Poor him. I do not envy his job right now. Vince actually is still in a creative position. I feel as though a lot of here's my thought about wrestling journalists and how they've been dealing with this. They have not been dealing with this very well. I'll say this right now because it's making it look like they've never seen any type of I know I want to stop using this comparison. Secession. They haven't seen any type of like, white collar type thing. This is literally like this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? So, you had Meltzer on CNN, and I looked at that CNN thing and I said, this is the biggest fluff thing I've ever seen in my life. They talked about Vince like he was like, a conquering champion. They didn't really kind of, ask any hard hitting questions at all. You know what I mean? And Meltzer, it looked like they had recorded his whole segment and then they just kind of placed them in there. But a lot of people have been like, how come they're not looking back at 92 and 84 and stuff like that? And I'm just like, listen, wrestling is still in this bubble. And if it was NFL, if it was anything else, it would probably be bigger than that. But wrestling is still, as much as it is in the mainstream, is very much niche to, the mainstream world. And I feel as though like it kind of put a pox on wrestling journalism because it was just like, yo, you guys largely report things that are fake or predetermined, and this is just proving that right now. This is the first thing that's not predetermined in our world.
Yeah, it's I was trying to figure out what was going to happen with Vince by the weekend. Like if this story blew up over the weekend, he was probably going to be in hotter water. And I don't want to say it died down, but I heard nothing after the CNN thing. I've not heard any new developments. I'm assuming the investigation is still on, but I've not seen sites like kind of even milking it and being like, 10 Vince McMahon scandals. Like it doesn't seem like anybody's talking about it at all, which is insane to me. Because let's say Clive Davis.
Right.
You found out that he had he stepped out, he had an affair, whatever the case may be, with someone that worked the same situation. It's Clive Davis at the record label, Grammy time, and when he said, I'm not going to be the head of the company, but we're still throwing the Clive Davis Grammy party, and I'm still going to go out there. Like that would be on GMA. Yeah. That would be like the audacity to this man, after to come out, and Vince did it twice. Mm-hmm. And it's so awkward. It's like you can tell he I can't tell if if he's just reverting back to like the most base baby face, like we're in Cleveland, Ohio, and we're gonna have Johnson. Like it's like, let me announce all the good stuff that people already know. And now he's got this thing where he just chucks the mic no matter what happens.
I feel like when he faces that type of adversity, the same thing he did with the steroid trial, he puffs his chest out even more. And I don't look at it as any more than just him posturing and being like, hey, well, since I don't have to be in boardroom meetings anymore, I'll be out here with y'all motherfuckers now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's clearly like, like not. I don't feel like not much will change. And like I said, I actually said this on the show last week with you guys. Like I called a lot of this stuff. It was like they're going to probably make him take a step back. I don't see them completely removing him from the company because that's when the stocks fall.
They can.
Yeah, that's when. Well, technically they can't either because he owns so much. And I think I questioned that too. I was like, I don't know how much he owns in terms of shares, and it turns out he owns like a lot.
That's the thing. It's like what they said. They were trying to hit Kevin Dunn with insider trading because of the amount of stocks that they said he was moving when early word of this investigation was even happening. But I'm saying even outside of that, the stockholders, and for ever since they went public, any type of fluctuation with Vince specifically,
yeah.
They get scared. I don't think they feel like anybody else is. It's really indicative of the future of the WWE, because it doesn't sound like they have enough trust in somebody to say if Vince can't do it, the ship can do. And mind you, it's such like they went from being driven by the biggest person in the organization to now we're a brand. We're a brand serving a universe. Mm-hmm. You can fuck anything up, but I feel like it may be harder to fuck this up if you, at the very least, stick with what is working and what's going on, what the fans are reacting to, which is age old as time. But for whatever reason, Vince McMahon has got the stockholders. Somebody's got the stockholders thinking that without him, the ship is immediately going to sink.
Yeah, and it's a legitimate fear, but it also speaks to how much cachet he holds in this world. This is the world that he's created. No one has been able to break into this. No one has been able to defeat, so to speak, this company in that way. I think
Right. Well, 15 years ago, you know, he fake killed himself and the stock plummeted.
Yeah.
And he had to come back out the next night to announce that it's all storyline and he's not really dead.
Yeah.
Just I mean, and then Chris, that guy happened.
That's why.
Yeah,
That's why. But if you followed the day after the Trump stuff, when Trump was supposedly took over the company or whatever, the stocks fell again because they especially at that time they didn't realize kayfabe and not kayfabe, but I've been, like I said, for the 20 or so years that they've been public, it's been this been constant thing of something happens with the higher ups, Vince, whoever, and immediately that stock price is going down. They're so shook of what's going to happen without him. Nick Khan seems like he's doing a great job, at least bringing them money, but I don't know, and I'm assuming that's a creative thing.
I think that they have to start making. I think this foray into Vince leading the creative team in some way, shape, or form. He's got to learn how to kind of break the reins, but you never know. You know what I mean? Like him coming out at Raw and SmackDown.
Do you think like the people have like a Pavlovian response when no chance hits?
Yes.
In the audience, you can see, you go back and look at the video. Some of those cats out there, no shit, they was singing it. They was ready for Vince to be out there. I don't even know if they saw CNN, saw anything.
Yeah,
they definitely
didn't. It's definitely a flex. It's a flex. I even questioned last night. I was like, are they putting him in a storyline? Because that's just such the Vince thing to do. To make this a storyline, because now he can be an active competitor again. He can be an active person on the show again, and it's gonna piss some people off, but it's not gonna piss the people off that could actually potentially do anything about this. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna piss people off on the internet, and I feel like I see stuff where it's just like SmackDown ratings did this because Vince came out, but he's also a part of creative. I'm like, listen, like CNN don't care about that. They don't care about him being part of creative. They do not care. No matter how many times you put this in your tweets, you're being retweeted by a bunch of wrestling fans first. It does not matter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. And people got mad at me last week for some strange reason because I said, this Vince thing, from the way that I saw it reported, is probably 14th or 15th important thing on that network that day. Maybe lower than that.
People didn't know. There were situations. There are people that I thought would probably know based off of what work and things that they do, and they were like, "Wait, what Vince thing are you talking about?"
Exactly. No one. Like my wife asked about it, and she was just like, "Oh, damn, that sounds crazy," and then walked away.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really in the mainstream world, in the grander scheme of things, it's not a hot topic. I mean, it just, and it's,
should it be? I think nepotism. I think taking advantage of. Well, the thing is that it's not even implied that he took advantage of it because they've said, even the Wall Street Journal thing said that it was consensual. So it's I can't say. I have not heard from this woman. If she comes out and says it was not consensual, that's when the whole thing changes. But I think we would be looking at this a lot worse if that was the first thing that came out, was that it was not consensual. Because this guy was cheating, I think it's just so funny how fans, like especially wrestling fans, you guys are wrestling fans. All of these motherfuckers cheat on their wives. You know what I'm saying? Like the CNN is not putting Vince McMahon cheating on his wife at the top of anything. He's not fucking Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. That's just not. They don't care. And I said, like, gas prices are high, racial unrest, Ukraine, all of that is higher than this right now. I'm sorry to tell you, this isn't affecting our economy.
Yeah. You can take my gas price, but you're gonna take my wrestling. That's what they're thinking right now. Like it's like people need escape, and I mean, and that stuff makes money. So as long as they can succession themselves out of any situation, and again, I don't know if this is indicative of the how far apart the worlds of pro wrestling and prestige television are, but if you I've been saying Succession since I saw Succession. When I talk about anything with the McMahon family, like it is just, it's all right there. In a situation like this, it's so textbook.
Right.
But people, the other part of that textbook is people ain't gonna read it. So there's some people that are just they not gonna worry about that, especially if they paid a ticket to go see they wrestling and Vince McMahon came out to his song.
Fuck it.
That's their memory. They remember he jumping. He couldn't walk out, like he was, his left foot got tripped up as he was getting out of the ropes to leave the ring. But then he was on the step and he jumps off the steps. I saw a picture. He's in the air, his hands all up and shit. This man is 76 years. Like it's again, it's indicative of, it's like you said, it's really, he created this world and he's kind of like,
he's the master of it.
He's is it Dr. Doom in Latveria? Like what's the proper emperor or overlord to his nation?
It's his universe. It's his brand. It's his toys, so to speak, and he does with it what he sees fit. My concern is that now we're starting to see, okay, this is the first kind of crack in the armor. And I think they need to start looking at the future. And from all what all reports say, like they really want to be led by Stephanie. And I haven't heard anything bad from her other than her not being able to garner any money. But it's like you can put people in position to make that money. You just need somebody front facing, and that's really all the CEO is at this point in this company. They're just front facing. Vince don't. I mean, he handles a lot of the creative, but as far as those conference calls and stuff, he's not talking on those anymore. Nick Khan is. Right. Let him handle it. So. We got to move on. Because we got to talk about Sasha Banks and the incredible mystery of Sasha, the disappearing Sasha Banks.
Listen, Sasha Banks Watch. It's been a constant. It's a while. This is like the most consistent segment on our show for like the last 3-4 years. That Sasha Banks Watch. Is she coming back or is she not? I mean, I've seen. The weirdest thing was I saw a tweet that said they should bring Sasha Banks and Naomi back, and I'm like, yeah, but they
left.
Realized like they walked out.
That was the first report. They left.
Yeah, like they left. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be great to have them back in the fold for sure, but they left. You know what I'm saying? And they're still as great as, and Naomi seems to be resting and fine, and she seems to have been a great time with her family, and I support all of that. Sasha Banks, we have no idea what she's doing. She doesn't really post on social media except if she likes something or something of the rather. Leaves it all up to kind of fans to kind of create whatever narrative around it, and then I don't even know if she clears it up.
No, but she never does. She still never even said why she left on SummerSlam. So, Twitter account Raj Giri, reporter, came out and said, I heard Sasha Banks was released. So yeah, Sean Ross Sapp, who usually would know these things, he actually gets the release emails. Hadn't seen anything. He said that there were some people that said that they thought that it had happened, but then he said some other people said that they hadn't heard that it happened. She was still a PW insider. Mike Johnson, who's also, I think Mike Johnson is probably the most reputable source in wrestling, in my opinion. Him and Sean are like. He said that she's still listed internally as part of the roster. She's still on the website. I mean, obviously her merch is down because they took their merch down last month when they suspended them without pay. Right. Obviously, when you buy their merch, they still get paid, so they suspended them indefinitely. It looks like she's still there. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Until her Twitter account changes back to Mercedes, or there's an official statement saying that Mercedes Varnado has been, future endeavored, I'm assuming she's there. It's only crazy because it's like not too many superstars can do this. Sasha Banks has done this before. She's been fed up and she's chosen to take some time off. She'll take time off. She's worth it. I don't want to, because I want to say the only thing I think she's really been active on has been Instagram. And there was one point where somebody tweeted something. It might have been the Raj thing, and she put on her Instagram story, "This is why I'm off of Twitter," or whatever. I don't, whatever the situation is, why aren't we waiting for these people to say something? Why do I have to see a tweet and then 15,000 dirt sheets having the report.
Mhm.
And then when you click the link, the report is Raj's tweet, which hasn't been confirmed. There's nothing else backing it up. I can't even get Dave Meltzer to say anything relative to she's gone. It's always, I heard there may have been lawyers. I heard there may have been conversation, but nothing specifically she's released. If she's on that website, I'm assuming she's on sabbatical until further notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the same for me because it's been this while, and that's part of the reason why I took the break for the weekend. But the kind of like the back and forth of, is Sasha Banks gone? Is Sasha Banks here? And there's no reputable proof of her. Like, everything points to her still being there. Especially, I think her being on the roster itself is still a major
clue.
thing. They take you off the roster like that when you're gone. Like, they don't waste no time. They don't. You're just gone immediately. So that to me is a major clue. The fact that nobody else is kind of willing to kind of step forward is a major clue. The fact that there is no real story, like you said, there's just one tweet we're referencing, and then it's like WrestleVotes, whatever their website, not even their website, their also Twitter account is like, we heard the same thing too.
Yeah, they've been wrong before. I'm not saying Raj is wrong. He might have just got some wrong intel. I absolutely believe there may be conversations about her contract, which she just signed a new one, by the way. She had signed a new one, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago? She got some time left on that. And look at what they did with Ali, countless other people. If they see you as
I think that's a major too. Like, they didn't even release Ali.
Exactly. So it's just like, why? And let's be clear, like, no, Kyle, you said the right thing. No other superstar can do this. No one.
It's she's too, and because we're in a weird situation where Sasha's got too many positives. She's fucking arguably one of the best people in that ring. I don't care what nobody said. 2, she's already making inroads into Hollywood, which the WWE loves. They love when they can say their superstar was in a Star Wars show.
I hear that they don't love it. I hear that they keep her from that. That's what they say on the internet, which is
I don't know nothing about that. I know that they want to make sure that they want to hop. I've only worked events where, before the tribal chief was really acknowledged as a tribal chief, he's working that movie. And we talking wrestling, but anyway, and I think the flip side is, and the most important thing right now, they do not want to see Mercedes Renardo showing up on the Forbidden Door, showing up on Dynamite. Like, she's too valued. She particularly would be too much of a black eye in the back and forth. I think if she were to ever show, I don't know if they would pay her.
No.
What she may be asking for, because I don't know if the people over there view her as a vital component of what they need for, whatever their demographic is.
My thing with that is with her going to AEW, not to derail, is that if you pay her more than Britt Baker, then Britt Baker's going to want to leave. If you pay her more than the woman that they have positioned to be, because I tried fantasy booking Sasha. I told Meelz about this. I tried fantasy booking Sasha Banks in AEW her first day, her first month. And I said her first promo, Britt Baker comes out, and that's when I stopped the pencil. I said, there's nothing. There's nothing you can really do. Like, she could have a lot of matches with a bunch of people that she's had matches with before, but there's nothing that she could really do there because Britt Baker is an albatross in terms of just talent and being there and the attention that they give her so many times. Like, her moving her to the side will cause a lot of discontent in that locker room immediately.
Fact.
Like, Sasha got to be with stars. She has to be next to stars and people that make money next to her. So it's like, whatever they do to work this out, I'm pretty sure that they'll do it. I have my own theories and shit. I'm not going to get into all this shit with Sasha because it just makes people upset. But it's like, I feel like wrestling journalism, it's kind of it flies in the face of what they really wanted, like CNN to talk about with Vince. It's like, y'all can't even get a confirmed report with names and sources. And now y'all want CNN to delve deeper. They look at y'all like a Rudy Poo, operation. They're like, no, wait a minute, we're good. We talked to the White House, and then they move on.
Well, don't forget their owned, or not owned, but their one show runs on Fox. And at this point, there's no delineation. This is News Corp.
Yeah.
Like they could give a fuck about a CNN. I was just looking to see. We should all remember that Sasha was also gone for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
That last time. It could be a while before we heard a piece of it on whatever, I don't remember if it was a 24/7 of the day she returned, or one of the mini documentaries they did.
She had a doc when she returned.
That's the first time I really heard from her mouth exactly what was going on, and that was a couple of years later. So I'm waiting for Sasha to say something, or I'm waiting for the WWE to officially say she is gone. Or I need some stronger proof than a Raj tweet and the miscellaneous things that she's not there
Because it's
for
not
because
even
she
on the
left.
website, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't point to dude's tweet and her merch when she left.
Right.
That's not enough to hold the water of she's completely
And
gone.
if she was let go, could you blame a company for someone who's done this 2 to 3 times already?
It's understandable. I don't like it, but it's understandable.
Like it's a shitty situation for all parties. It's like what example are you setting if that happens? But then the other example is Ali did it and he didn't get let go either. So that's our other proof that of the contrary to like how they handle these types of situations. She'll be meeting with Vince sooner or later, I'm sure, and he'll put
I don't think I just don't
put the magic on her.
I feel like Sasha Banks herself, like a little bit of the luster changes if she does leave WWE. Like
for
it's
her.
Yeah, right. For her, I think everything, the entire package of what they got going and how she exists in this WWE ecosystem and kind of like where she's built to and kind of everything that you can kind of reference from that is immediately, I'm not going to say washed away, but I've seen so many different talent in the past. And I was talking to J5 about this, so many different talent in the past who have left and felt like they could do a lot of things really, really soon. I look at, rest in peace to Joni Lawler, but I look at Chyna and kind of how she left the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of and she could definitely have gone sort of that, she was looking for that crossover star. She was going by Joni. I remember seeing her on Who's Line. She was going to do the movies. She was going to do all these other stuff. And then it just kind of never worked out. And then she kind of like, when she would at various times, she would go back to wrestling to say like, okay, this is where people recognize me and this is kind of where I can get my footing as well. I even kind of look at The Rock, for instance, right? Like The Rock not necessarily left the WWE. He was never really gone, but it wasn't easy for him to break into a new field as it probably would be now, but it wasn't easy for him neither. Like the movies that he chose and the everything that he did, it wasn't easy for him to just say like, oh, I'm going to be a star outside of WWE. Because everyone says that.
Yeah.
Everyone says, oh, I'm going to be a star outside WWE. It's way harder than you think. And not necessarily that I'm like, I don't think Sasha Banks can do it. I think it's just with the way the machine...
People are oversimplifying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I do say it probably is easier for someone like Sasha Banks to become a star with the WWE than it is. I'm not saying she can't do it.
Right. That's what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, she would have to be starting right. All right, I left the WWE Monday, Tuesday. Let me get this LLC. Let me get these plans into action for whatever team I need. Yeah, exactly, because she would need to hit the ground running to ride that wave for whenever that news would drop that she would be getting released from the WWE. Because that's why it's a reciprocal exchange. This is the thing I think people need to realize. The WWE may be totally hands off on whatever Sasha does with The Mandalorian, for example, but Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, they know they're probably going to get some type of behind the scenes thing out on the YouTube or, some type of WWE socials. They're going to be retweet. Like they're going to be getting something back. There's a reason why she's in the show. She's not in the show. She doesn't have a lot of lines.
Yeah.
It's not like she's in there because she's about to get an Emmy.
Yeah. And
some of that is stunt casting, and some of it's because she is active and is a performer and can do a lot of the physical work. But you just need that push.
And the one thing with The Rock was that there was always that synergy. There was always Vince McMahon was either the producer.
Let him use The Rock.
The Rock. I mean, the synergy now is with Fox, right? Fox is owned by Disney. If she's doing Mandalorian, that's the tie-in right there. So it's like there is synergy that you can get there as far as like, and that's just if she just wants to be in Hollywood. We don't know if she wants to be in Hollywood. She's never, you know what I'm saying? She said that she's been interested, but we don't know how deep, you know what I'm saying, she wants to go with that. So it's like, you know, I just feel like it's a lot on both ends, but you know, we'll obviously keep an eye on the situation. One thing that's not being talked about is where the hell Naomi is. No one's talking about her anymore. Nobody.
She posted one video. They were on a beach somewhere, her and the family chilling, Oos included. And I think I saw her post a Father's Day thing. But yeah, she's been about this situation super quiet.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of like, and not necessarily does she need to. She doesn't need to, but I think she definitely does post, especially a little bit about herself and what she's going through and stuff, to quell the fan base a little bit of.
She's fine.
That I'm fine. Like I'm not, I'm not crying. I'm not, yeah, it might be tough, but overall, I will be fine at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So she does that where, I even looked back at the 2009 Sasha Banks and kind of how she left, and she's liking AEW posts and she's like responding to various different people and stuff like that, and I'm just like,
stop doing that.
Because I was like, you know what I'm assuming she's very aware of what she's doing, and yeah, I thought it continued to kind of create this like rabid, bad, just overall non-constructive
conversation
kind of regarding everything.
Let's get into the shows. We had a really
wait one more thing. I want to say RIP to Dave Hebner and referee Tim White. I was like, damn,
RIP Tim White, and especially after that, all the stuff Tim White's ever been through as a referee, like one of my favorite refs of all time. And I know like refs are unsung heroes in there, but like Tim White was one of my favorite ones, man. He was funny.
Yeah. Been through a bit, just the stories of him and Andre the Giant alone, but then his whole career after that has been some craziness too.
Absolutely.
My memories of him is Dancing with Hoes. I was like, damn, he's always Godfather's referee at me as a kid. I was like, he's always Godfather's referee. That's so crazy.
He was that Attitude Era guy. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk about SmackDown and Raw on the A Show. 1 second.
Lot of ones to the sky here in Minnesota.
Say what you want about Roman Reigns, how he goes about his business. There is no doubt he is one of the great champions in the history. Oh my God.
Holy hell!
What the hell is this? Could it be?
It is! Yes, it is!
Roman Reigns has seen a ghost! The Beast, Brock Lesnar, is back!
4.5 million views on YouTube as we speak. Brock Lesnar is back.
Let me ask you guys something. I don't own a car, but if WWE aired...
What a way to start.
If WWE aired like maybe on like Sirius XM or something along the lines, and you just got the audio of the shows, would you listen to the shows on your drive? Like, say you were missing SmackDown, but you could turn on the radio to hear SmackDown.
Yeah.
Would you listen to it?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm in LA. I'm in the car a lot when I'm driving, so yeah, I would.
It would have to be it would need to be very well produced. It couldn't sound like it was recorded from the TV.
Yeah.
Because at this point, again, people
just hear a steel chair sound just goes.
I need it in Dolby. I need all that. It needs to sound right if you're going to give it. But yeah, I could do it. I listen to podcasts. I could do it.
Like the that Batman one on Spotify, something similar to that.
I'm saying
pushing that shit on every Spotify show that I listen to. Like, please, God, I'm gonna listen to it one day. Jesus Christ.
Done the right way, I think it could work though. I don't want it to sound like baseball used to sound when I was a kid on the radio. That sounded so annoying. Just one guy and Just one guy talking over that? No, I'm good.
I wanted it to be the Spanish commentary though. Like that.
That'd be hard. That'd be hard. You could just hit the SAP and it's giving you the full Mexican announce table. That'd be amazing.
Exactly. SmackDown, 2-segment show, I think, in a lot of ways. Vince, obviously, we talked about already. I guess we got to get to Brock, man. I mean, but before we get to Brock, I mean, we have to talk about. I got to give Riddle his flowers because I said it last week. I said this is going to be the match that kind of puts him on that level, and I think that a lot of people backstage might have gave this man an ovation for that performance because he looked fantastic on Friday night.
Yeah, they did their thing. They really did their thing.
But
yeah, it was incredible.
But at the end of the match, obviously Roman Reigns retained his titles, and we heard that familiar music. Brock Lesnar was back. A lot of reports came out about this, like immediately after he debuted or re-debuted or came back on SmackDown. Obviously, there were a lot of moving parts in the last month that have caused this to happen. Most notably, the fact that the slot for SummerSlam was originally supposed to go to Randy Orton, who has had a seemingly severe back injury that is going to put him out indefinitely, potentially for the rest of 2022, which stopped him from having this match, and which they had to break the Brock glass. But I think in this terms, for a good reason, because there's just so much bullshit going on right now. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it sucks because it feels like you throw a rock and you're going to hit a couple of wrestlers that have some type of injury. Rhea Ripley just had to, be removed from the match. Like, things happen. Yeah. It's not. I'm not excited for Roman Brock, whatever number it is, but you're at the very least, if they're going to have a match at a pay-per-view, I'm going to watch that pay-per-view for that match. I don't know about some of these other ones. I don't want to say they're not like they're an afterthought, but without something at some point, the natives are going to get restless. The universe is going to get tired.
I think in a perfect world, in a perfect world, we're excited for SummerSlam for various reasons. We're excited for SummerSlam for Randy versus Roman. We're excited for SummerSlam possibly a Rhea versus Bianca. That could very well still happen. We're excited for SummerSlam because Cody's going to be there, and what the hell is he going to do? And somehow in the last 3 weeks, we've kind of like lost a lot of stuff. So when Brock Lesnar comes out at the end of SmackDown, in my mind, I get it. And I think if you're any kind of rational, like, human being, you get what they're doing. This is the biggest match they got. They got a big ass show coming up, and they need to sell out the rest of this damn stadium. So you rationalize it. But in terms of Brock versus Roman, I think we've gotten to the point where we're probably the last man standing aspect to it adds another level of intrigue and destruction that could come with it. And I think, especially both men now on part-time schedules, hopefully they can beat their own. Well, I don't know about Roman because he got Clash of the Castle.
Roman's going to be working pretty much, I think, a large part of the bottom half of the summertime because he's got something in July. He'll probably have to be around a little bit for August, leading up to Clash of the Castle because they got to make that one successful, and then he's going to be overseas in September. But I think that in terms of the Brock thing, I left WrestleMania feeling a little bit unfulfilled from their main event match. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I felt a little unfulfilled. I felt it could have been better. I felt that something was weird. Their wires rarely ever cross negatively, and I felt like that match it definitely did. I don't know if Roman got hurt or what was going on. So I would like to see a better match. You know what I'm saying? I know people are.
Is it weird that I felt like there wasn't enough Gaga? Exactly. Like, I know you don't need Roman and Brock Lesnar. You don't really need the outside elements. But I think with everything leading up to that program, you probably did. I probably did need to see Paul Heyman take an F5.
Right.
I probably did need to see, a kick out after a championship belt to the head or something.
It didn't feel definitive.
That's why I always assumed that he was injured, right? Like that. I don't know if that was ever confirmed, but I remember him trying to hold up both the belts, and that one arm definitely looked like he wasn't able to fully extend it. But it just made me think. Now thinking about all this, has this been the plan? It's kind of maybe Roman's been gone because he's not been 100% the way he needs to be. And they are just waiting to get the right match for Brock to finish this off. I don't know. I don't know if that's what they were planning, but you could pull that off if you really wanted to.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of ways they got to do a lot of. I mean, my first thought was that you team Brock up with all the people that don't like the bloodline. You have Brock with the Prophets, you have Brock with Riddle, Nakamura, whoever, and trying to take down this faction. And this being like the first shot across the bow to stop them is having Brock be kind of the leader for that. I think that as much as people are upset, I get it. You shouldn't be confused about this. That's one thing I will say. You shouldn't be confused about why this is happening, because this is completely, if this is emergency, this is emergency. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if it wasn't going to be Brock, if Cody was still around, it might have been him. You know what I'm saying? It could have been somebody, but I think that they need to do a lot more in the build up to this. But I feel like, I just see it for what it is. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you're bootlicking. I'm like, I'm not. I mean, who else could it be? I mean, it wasn't going to be Riddle.
And that's the biggest problem. That's the thing I've been talking about for a while. It's been tough. Let me step back. We're in an interesting age right now. Someone mentioned it recently, but it's a thought that's been had. Like, people really like heels. They're not as big in the baby faces. So it's been I don't know if that's part of why it's been hard for WWE to build a lot of viable contenders for Roman Reigns, but they're just, in the time he's been champion, they've not really solidified that one person again, which is clear because after they had to call an audible, I'm assuming with whatever's going on with Big E and what went down at WrestleMania, they're going back to that because they don't have anybody else. Nobody else has really been stamped as the guy.
I think the difference here is that they had several this summer and they both got hurt at the same time. So it's like you don't want to shoot them bail for this. You know what I'm saying? You really definitely don't want to shoot them bail for Brock Roman part 6 or 7 or whatever it is. But it's like, this time you kind of have to, because it's like they were building Cody and he was that guy.
And he's gone.
Randy's on the biggest babyface run of his life. He unfortunately got hurt. Drew, they're clearly saving for Clash at the Castle, so you can't go to him yet. And then with Bobby Lashley, who's like your other one, he has to kind of be busy until they split these belts up, and he's allowed to be the champion as a babyface on his own, without both belts. So it's like, I get it. They've been trying, you know what I'm saying? But I think that this injury bug that's not only hit them, it's hit AEW, it's hit New Japan. Like, the injury bug is real this summer, and they had to do something.
I will say this also just proves how good Roman Reigns is right now as a tribal chief. Like, outside of all of this, the one thing I am not thinking, and one thing I'm not hearing a lot of people really being ready to say is, yeah, split them belts up. Go ahead, have Roman just beat a smack. I don't need to see that right. I want the bloodline owning all the gold until they have somebody ready. It's gonna suck when we're in these lean times, but I've survived. It's not like it's the first time where I've watched pro wrestling and a bunch of people that are really dope or that could really be in power positions are injured.
Right.
Finn won the Universal title and was injured and out of it the next day. Like, these things happen. We just got to suffer through it, and that means getting another Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I would have rathered it be something else too. Even I, at the end of SmackDown, I was like, wait, okay, so why did he say that? And I said, oh yeah, he is still signed. It's like, if you still got Brock Lesnar signed, why not? And I think my only expectation is it better be better than the Mania main event, because I felt like, you can't follow up Stone Cold with what they had, and it was a good match, but it wasn't great. And I always feel like that every one of their other, every other match they have is fantastic. So it's a good statistic to have. So it's looking like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, last man standing for the titles at SummerSlam. We got a long time to push this one, so expect Brock to be on the TV screen.
Yeah, we got about a month or so. It's weird because now for me it looks like Money in the Bank went from, and for to quote a Fab album, from nothing to something. Well, actually, it's the other way, from something to nothing, real quick. Like, now it's become this beer B-tier pay-per-view on the way, and that's just by virtue of them announcing the SummerSlam match before Money in the Bank is even. People aren't even fully qualified for this fucking ladder match yet, and they've announced that
they should never ever do these types of things back to back again. And I think that's it just sets up for so much bullshit to happen, and everything that could go wrong with this triple stadium thing that they were gonna do, it has went wrong this year.
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say this as I'm thinking about it on the podcast, trying to connect some dots. We spoke about Vince earlier. We didn't even talk about the one thing that he was hyping up was 20 years of Cena next week, which you already knew about. I wonder. I don't know if they were going to break the Lesnar glass right now, but I wonder if they're throwing a lot of the stuff that they can do right now and they should do right now because of these injuries to also kind of mask the fact that there's this other life going on possibly that could be erupting, or at least coming to the forefront because people at least know that he stepped down. WWE released a statement.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to mask everything, but if you're going to try and mask it and you got Brock Lesnar, you can do Brock and Roman. Maybe Vince is saying, fuck it, throw that out right now. They'll worry about that. Then we'll talk about me.
No, I mean, yeah, no, you're right to an extent. Like the conversation of the show starts with Vince McMahon, and he clears that out of the way for you very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he also, I thought, in terms of like, this is why I've always, said that AEW they have some good elements, but they need to like structure their TV show better because it's a bad TV show. Mm-hmm. They pair the Vince McMahon segment with the Riddle segment. So there's no commercial break. It just splits right at the, they do the Vince McMahon, they do the intro to SmackDown, they do Riddle. So that audience is still tapped in. And that Riddle segment is to promote the main event of the show with Roman Reigns, who does not appear on any show really anymore. You get to the main event. It's the WWE Championship main event. That's already built in box office. And then you introduce Brock Lesnar. It's like a perfect storm of like, okay, you thought this was the conversation before, but now this is the conversation as you're leaving. And everyone can still worry about the television show, much less than, whatever misconduct that this man is currently going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into Raw. We've learned right before Raw from Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful that Rhea Ripley was not medically cleared to compete at Money in the Bank against Bianca Belair, so they had to clear that one up. The injury bug strikes again. Her whole faction has changed, and now they have to be on the whole back burner again because she.
I heard they was on Main Event.
They were, because I'm pretty sure that match might have been. It seemed to me that match or something that had to do with them was probably going to be on the main show. And they were like, when Rhea was there, just like, fuck it, we can't even have it done. Like,
we'll just tape it for Main Event.
It's being used, bro.
Because they take main events. So I think main events would tape before Raw, right? So they just have, instead of throwing it on at the 8:30, they threw it on at fucking 6:30.
I'll say this: I don't want to see that group until they've completely changed their look in general, anyway. And it looked to me that they're still rocking the same clothes and stuff like that. Like, I want to see something completely different from them when I see them again. But Bianca comes out at the top of the show, says that Rhea can't go. It seems to be that the I believe 3 weeks ago, Rhea's teeth got knocked out of place.
I did read about
and
that. Yeah,
she had to get them realigned, and that's about a 3 to 4 week kind of thing. So I good on them for saying, hey, maybe you should sit out for a while before you do this, because you and Bianca are probably going to go hard. So they had a fatal 5-way against some people that are already in Money in the Bank, because once again, they had to kind of make chicken salad out of chicken shit here, but it worked. That fatal 5-way to me was one of my favorite matches of the show last night, as well as the main event. You ended up with Carmella being the kind of being the second option here. That's a fair match for her to have. She
being the good sport, being the good Samaritan in this situation.
Sometimes you got to do it, because she understands, I'm getting paid for this, so it don't matter. Like, at the end of the day, I'm being featured on a major show. Shout out to Carmella. I'm pretty sure that match is going to be serviceable, and Bianca just needs to rack up wins. That's fine for her. And then at the end, you have Becky and Asuka in a slobber knocker of a match. I loved how desperate both of the women seemed. They looked as though they hadn't even worked earlier that night for 30 minutes. Like, they were going off, and Asuka won that match and qualified for Money in the Bank, leaving a little bit more intrigue into the Becky storyline, which I really feel like is what's going to happen with that. Is something that's going to be really interesting that a lot of people will like, but I guess I'll save it for after the summertime.
I have in terms of Carmella now being the number one. I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, at this point, yeah. Like,
It's whatever.
yeah, at this point it's whatever. Like, this pay-per-view is not, I'm not saying it's cooked. It's going to be good. It's going to be solid. I don't think I think we've learned in the past that even the most even the pay-per-views that look like the least interesting have always come out at least solid in that respect,
Yeah.
because these girls and guys, they work, you know what I'm saying?
And she's worked with Carmella before. They had a whole program on SmackDown, so it's not like they're
Yeah.
not familiar with each other. So they'll have the match, and then she'll be able to move on to the next stage.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, we have that to look forward to, and of course the Money in the Bank stuff. Everything that happened this week.
Hey, any show with a Money in the Bank, man. I mean, that's automatic. That's the match. You know what I'm saying? That's the match on the show. So like that's really all that matters. Even if the card is going to be slight, you still got those matches, and you know they're going to deliver in some way, shape, or form. We got Austin Theory name dropping Cena real loudly this time. So I mean, I guess we kind of see where they're going with this, right?
Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it's going down. I hope they give. Yeah, I was gonna say I hope they give Lashley the title. They probably
Yeah, they're going to give him the title. I think the shoe-in for Lashley is they need him to legitimize Judgment Day a little bit, in my opinion. I think he should face Judgment Day. I think that's a good way for him to go. It seems like they've completely taken AJ. Is AJ facing The Miz? Is that what we're doing here? Is that going to be the feud?
I guess.
I have no idea. I mean, I literally have no idea. And I can't say like I'm looking forward to it. It's not that I'm not, but it's also I'm not.
That should make sense. Hold on.
No, it's not, because it just kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Not really.
Like,
Not really. No.
I mean,
It started last week.
He was on. It did?
Yes, it started last week.
What happened last week? I thought it was AJ versus Seth last week.
Did it happen? Oh yeah, it was.
Nah, man.
It was AJ versus.
Yeah, it's just, you know, Miz needs something to do. He got a television show. He got to have something. Maybe he's in Money in the Bank. Maybe he's not, or something.
I know y'all saw the Ciampa interaction, man. Hey, put that fucking suit on, my guy. But that's y'all thought I was crazy.
Listen.
Just do it. He don't want to do that though. He's not ready for that yet.
Hey,
apparently, I don't.
Miz security, come on, man.
But I don't know what else he's going to be doing, so he might as well put the shit on. They could have he could have been him and Cesaro. They could have had the suits on. They could have been looking like what was it, Agent 47? What's some man's name from Hitman?
Agent 47 from Hitman. Agent 47. What you guys feel about the Elias Ezekiel thing? I was like, y'all spent a lot of money to make this happen.
Bruh. This is like
KO.
You ever seen that episode? No.
KO is so into this too. You could tell.
You ever seen that episode of Moesha where Brandy guest stars? That's what the fuck this was.
That's good.
It was Brandy's on This Week Moesha. It's like, aren't you Brandy? That's exactly what this felt like to me. It felt like this is the most like 90, like IMX is on Sister this week, and it's like, aren't you Batman from IMX? And it's like, and he's Roger, and that's Batman, and all this other shit like that. Like this felt like very like 90s TV comedy.
I mean, it's definitely some Mick Foley dude love, you know, we changing outfits for the Royal Rumble 2-3 time type shit. But is it just going to be the two of them, or is there going to be a third?
Brand, if they introduce Elias's uncle,
Elrod,
Edwin, some shit like that, like, come on,
like, let's get ridiculous with it, man. And I gotta commend Elias for completely being into the gimmick, right? Like, there's a lot of people that would not be into this, and you could tell he's always been game for whatever they've given him, and a lot of times gimmicks work when you're all the way in.
I met him. I did I record the one time I was ever on a WWE network thing for like a millisecond was during that one Elias documentary. He went by my former employer's office and we recorded a sketch, which is still on the YouTube somewhere. I'm listed as a complex editor, but he was cool. We you know, off camera he was chill, but when he was on camera, like that man, he arrived in gimmick. he is like that. He understands what it takes to be a pro wrestler. I'm as much as I don't care about, who Elias is and who Ezekiel is or whatever the case may be, I'm glad that they let him rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need stuff like this on a pro wrestling show. I don't know if it could actually be a pro wrestling show without some goofy shit going on.
Yo, rate the beard. Let's just rate it right now.
The Elias beard?
The Elias beard. The beard that's obviously fake. It also looked like it was dyed as well. It looked like it didn't. Darker. It didn't look like it came that color.
Actually,
listen, before we rate this beard, both segments on YouTube, both at 617,000 at the same time. Both of them. Exactly.
All right, I'm comparing an image I see on the WWE Twitter to an image from 2019. It looked, because he had, his beard was a lot, again, as a guy who actually has a beard, like his beard was a lot like fuller. It didn't just like a lot like it's not like he's just brushing his hair down. Like it looked like it looked like he had some fro action there, and the beard this fake beard is definitely the wrong hair texture. I don't know what letter combination hair this is.
That beard is not fake. Okay, he just hasn't washed it. He didn't wash it last night. He's been
my fault.
Not fake at all.
That's right. He was whatever bridge he sleeps under. He just woke up. So I got to be to the show and just showed up.
He's the drifter.
Yeah.
Listen, I pop huge when KO goes to the back. And I said, wait, they never do shit like this. And then he walks forward, and Ezekiel pops up.
KO's good, man. KO loves this shit. He's happy to be involved into some wild shit.
Oh, my God. I was like, man, they're going all for it. And I questioned it in the beginning. And I said, you know what, man? They love it. The kids are loving it, man. Like, it is what it is, man. You need to have that entertainment, the sports entertainment shit. And I was sports entertained by this last night, and I was cool with it.
He's got the right bad guy in Kevin Owens. I mean, anybody else, I don't know if it would be as fun of an angle.
Last big segment before we end off on Raw. Riddle comes out, has a match with Omos. Is kind of competitive considering what that guy went through last Friday. He loses the Money in the Bank qualifying match to Omos. I have very big fears and concerns about him being in a ladder match. I would expect him to be falling through a ladder and being shipped out of the match very quickly in 2 weeks. But Seth Rollins comes out and attacks Riddle, and it looks to be that will probably be your program this summer. Riddle and Seth Rollins. What do you guys think?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Very good.
I mean, I feel like Seth will win at least one of these things for sure. He's not going out like Cody, like he did against Cody at all.
Oh no, he is. If not, that's my thing though, guys. And I don't want to get into like, trying to predict Money in the Bank at this point, but like Seth kind of got to win that, right? He's got to win something. They made this nigga lose 3 times in a row.
And then the nigga got injured, and now he's no longer on television. So
I as much as I wasn't as into when Seth was coming out and he was like, clearly I'm the Joker, although I'm not really the Joker. I wasn't as into it. Lately, it may have been around the what was that? The cell match he did with Edge. It was like after that. I think he's whatever the situation is, he's been on fire. So I am completely believing that he will be fine in whatever he does. But yeah, at some point they have to make him get something in return because he's doing a lot of ill shit. And even when he wins, because he won the match technically against Roman a month or two ago, I forget whatever show it was, and it still didn't matter. Like, it's not like he actually got any further. He was still exactly where he needed to be. I'd love to see him have. I don't know if the US and IC titles are cursed, but a Seth run with a title, I'd like to see it at some point.
I agree.
The Money in the Bank is a title in itself, so let him have that title, and then you guys can pull the trigger whenever Cody is about ready to come back. You know what I mean? Like, and then just have it be that. I think that there will be enough time passed that we could do a part 4 and it would make sense, and it would be sensical because Cody is now, you kind of set it up now in a way that I feel like this was what it was like when Mox was there. Like, that was Seth's demon. That was the guy he just couldn't beat. And you could set up Cody as that demon again, where it's like he just can't beat Cody, can't get around him, and that's a good way for Cody to be introduced back into the fold. But I think in terms of Riddle, his fortune has turned around tenfold. You know, going from Roman to Seth, they're keeping him in that conversation, in that top of the card, view, and I think he's going to be fine without Randy. I think he's going to be okay, and I think that's something that's been set up there. He doesn't need Money in the Bank because he can't fucking vie for the title anyway. So at the end of the day, It makes sense for him to kind of go out on the sword and kind of chill for a minute. He needs to chill. He'll be all right. Anything else from Raw? I think that was everything.
No, I really
I liked Raw. I thought it was fine. I didn't get bored.
It was better than last, or was it last week or the week? Recently there was a Raw I was really not into, and this was a lot more engaging. I'll say that much this week.
Yeah, this Raw further proved that the women's division of that show is the best women's division to me in the world right now, because they're all fucking working. Liv's working. Alexa Bliss is working. Becky's on another level. Everyone there just works right now, and that showed it from the beginning of the show to the end. They main evented again. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're killing it right now, and I think that if there was anything to watch, it would be the two matches from the show from the women in the beginning and at the end of the show.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to thank you for saying Liv's working. I don't get to hear that a lot, and I as one of the lone Liv Morgan fans out there, Jersey all day. She do be doing her thing.
I was skeptical. Now, Cal, I was skeptical for a while. Yep. I wasn't in love with the Becky stuff. I'll say that right now.
I can understand that. You're talking about on mic or in ring as well?
Both.
Okay.
But I'll say shout out to Becky for giving her that opportunity, because a lot of women backstage wouldn't do that. Like, I couldn't see Charlotte doing that for her.
Right. Especially for multiple pay-per-views. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I was trying to tell people, you can hate. I understand that at the end of the day, Becky Lynch has to win, but that also means that I understand that for Becky Lynch to eventually lose to a Liv or someone like her, Liv's got to get those reps in. There's no other way about it. People have to be put in those positions to understand what it's like to step up on the mic, to step up at a pay-per-view, put in a good showing, and still lose. It's the nature of the business. I'm just glad that, like you said, shouts to Becky for giving her the opportunity. Shouts to Liv for taking it and putting in that work and being able to build her.
No, I mean, the page turned for me when the Rhea matches were happening, and I was like, no, she's pulling together some really good offense. She's getting the crowd behind her. I see it for her. I mean, she's my pick for Money in the Bank right now. It's hers to lose, in my opinion. And she's working her ass off. And in that Fatal 5-Way, who had the biggest spots in that match? It was her. You know what I mean? It was her. So thank you, Cal, for joining us on the show. We did a lot of talking this week. My blood's pumping, man.
No doubt. I appreciate y'all for having me. It's been dope to be able to enjoy some discourse as well as make some things happen. Black Pod Connect. I couldn't imagine who else we'd be able to do that stuff without the A Show and Black Announce Table. So shouts to y'all. Appreciate you.
Meelz, anything else you want to say? We got some stuff to announce. I guess we could wait till tomorrow to announce or show it off.
Yeah, we can definitely wait. Let's wait a little bit. We got some interesting stuff coming through. I'm sending out DMs. I'm answering messages. I'm doing a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff still in the works.
Okay.
I'm just saying. It's very much so true. Like, yeah, I'm literally answering DMs right now.
Meelz big cell phone right
now. But nah, I mean, pretty much for the last week, I mean, this has been incredible. Just Black Pod Connect, the fundraiser, everything for the last week. I was very overwhelmed going into it with anxiety because I didn't know how it would go, but it went beautiful. And, I'm constantly 10 foot down. I'm like, yo, I'm working with professionals. What the fuck do I care? But it's all been great. Keep donating, guys. Let's make these kids' dream come true. And that's kind of all I got to say.
Yeah. Until next week, we'll be having our Money in the Bank prediction show. That should be Is it next week?
It is next
It's
week.
next week. Yeah, we're going to be having our Money in the Bank prediction show.
Forbidden Door, then Money in the Bank. Same week. Sunday, one on Sunday, one on Saturday.
Jesus. So we're going to be very busy next week, and we're going to be talking to you guys about everything that happened in the world of pro wrestling, whether good or bad or in between. Make sure you tune into the Patreon. The newest episode of Spot Callers is coming out this week. It is me and Cyrus reviewing 5 matches from Big Van Vader. You're not going to want to miss that one on the page. Yeah. We review some fire shit, including the Final 4 match from WWF's In Your House Final 4 between Vader, Bret Hart, Taker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So you do not want to miss that one. Instant classic right there. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. And as you already know, we're on our summer of revenge, and we're going to get that shit. So we'll see you guys next week on the A Show.